This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. 2,000 children still remain missing from what occurred in Lahaina in Maui. And of course, it gets zero publicity from the mainstream media. And I think we all obviously understand why. A lot of people are new to this and waking up, so it's very shocking to them as they start hearing these types of stories to actually comprehend what's going on and what our government's involved in. But this isn't anything new if you've been awake for quite some time. Obviously, I've covered things like McMartin, the preschool, which everybody in America should know. It's probably most known for being like the most expensive trial in the history of this country that came out of people's tax money. But really, they should know it for the absolute travesty that it was and how many children were affected by it. And of course, they were put, if you don't know the story, it was underground. Underneath a preschool, there was an underground tunnel. They found all types of satanic stuff under there, pentagrams, animal bones, things like that. And it led directly to an airport. That airport flew up into the hills of Los Angeles, where these children were obviously, a lot of things were done, a lot of satanic rituals. I can't go into detail here. That video is available on the website, uprisingrevival.com. But that was obviously my awakening for most of you that do know a lot about my channel's history, even though I'm a new YouTuber. But what people need to understand now is how all this stuff works. So with what happened in Maui, you know that the military obviously is involved in everything that happened there along with our government. The military protects our government. The military is involved in this, whether anybody wants to believe it or not. We all have this view of what the military is, and it doesn't mean everybody in the military is involved. It's just a lot of high-ranking people. The military was infiltrated a long, long time ago. We can look at the roots of guys like Michael Aquino, who was a notorious Satanist who had a high-ranking position in the U.S. military, and how they've groomed a lot of the people in the military through using mind control techniques to create what they call super soldiers. They're pretty much people that are operating with alters. It's very much like the Manchurian Candidate in a sense, if you've ever seen Born Identity, those types of movies. And what people need to start understanding is, because I get messages all the time, what are we going to do about it? When are we going to do something? And I've talked about how over on the website, that's where we can network and talk about things like military bases and military underground industrial complexes, underground tunnels, all those types of things. This is all stuff that we need to know about, because if stuff hits the fan as we all expect it to, a lot of people are just expecting to go to the White House or to go to, protest and do these types of things. These people are going to be underground, and they're going to be underground in underground bunkers, underground bases, and underground cities. They've been building this out with our tax money. Hear a lot of these stories about how houses are just falling into the ground, right? And they're all swamped into the ground. The house got sucked into the ground because they've been building underground for decades now, decades upon decades with our tax money. That's where all the missing people go. You can't go missing, I tell people all the time in this society. Tell me how it's possible to go missing. You can't go missing. You can't go missing if you wanted to go missing, okay? So 2,000 children there don't just go missing. Now, they're not even reporting on the fact that 2,000 kids are missing because they don't want you to get suspicious as to where all the bodies are. They're telling you that there's a lot of unidentified bodies, but they pretty much have stopped the search and stopped everything. We know that they've barricaded everything in over in Lahaina. There are walls up, right? And this is about more than just smart cities. Now, a lot of people have been talking about some of the footage that has come out of underground bases in Maui. I personally believe that if they were removed from Maui or if they were all herded up, that they were taken to a different island. I believe personally it would be Oahu. Now, if you're not familiar with Oahu, Oahu is filled with military bases and underground bunkers and underground cities and underground tunnels, everything in the mountains, which to me always reminds me of the Bible verse in the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 6, verse 16, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Because these people believe that they're going to be hiding in the mountains. They already are hiding in the mountains from us, but they will not be able to hide from God's wrath. So let me start by showing you about the military bases on Oahu and in in Hawaii. Hawaii has about 1.5, 1.4 million people, the population of these islands, and they have enough military, 10% they claim of the people on the islands are in the military. That's a pretty large amount. Take a look.
When it comes to Hawaii, the following things comes in mind: amazing weather, surfing, clear blue water, beaches, and ukulele. But what if I tell you that this is just one side of the coin? The other side, which hides behind the vibrant forest, are the several military bases all over Hawaii. Well, they are not particularly hidden, but surely unpredicted, considering Hawaii's small size and population of just 1.4 million. Hawaii, or particularly the island of Oahu, is the only location in the world hosting the headquarters for the largest U.S. combatant command, the U.S. Pacific Command for the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. Hawaii is also one of the few states that has at least one base from each branch of the military represented throughout the state. There are a total of 11 bases across 4 islands, many of which served a vital role in World War II. It turns out no matter where you are in Hawaii, you're never too far from a military base. In Hawaii, 5.6% land belongs to the military, and on Oahu, the most densely populated island, the military controls approx 86,000 acres out of 382,000, or 22.4% of all the land. The military is an important component of the population and economy of Hawaii. The nearly 100,000 military personnel and dependents make up 8% of Hawaii's population, the highest proportion of any state in the country.
So what's interesting about Oahu is the fact that this island specifically has a lot of very notorious bunkers, very notorious underground tunnels. And of course, if you haven't heard, if you didn't see some of the videos I did on Maui and the islands there, I know everybody talks about Oprah and Oprah owning the land there, but attention is taken away from Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook fame, owns the majority of the land in Oahu. And conveniently, a lot of the land in Oahu, like you saw, is filled with these underground tunnels and filled with the military. So I believe that they probably got these children out of Maui and brought them over to Oahu. Why would they put them and keep them on Maui? They have fleets of Navy ships, etc., to be able to quickly move them from there all at once, all on one ship, over to Oahu. Now, I'm going to show you some of the things in Oahu that people should be familiar with if you're not, aware. I'll even show you a news clip. I'll start there. Let's start with the bunkers. This bunker base that used to be for stores that they were leasing out to the public. As if, like you're thinking about, they market it like it's some type of storage unit. Like, wouldn't people just go to U-Haul if they wanted a storage unit? They're like, no, but this one's special. It's in the mountainsides. It's so secure and secretive. Well, what would you be hiding in such a secretive, secure place like that? What are you hiding? Old pictures, old photos, old toys you grew up with in cardboard boxes? You want to instead of going to U-Haul, you want to go up into the mountains? No, these are like prison cells up in the mountains in Oahu. Take a look at this.
Some island businesses are in real hole-in-the-wall locations, and now other local companies will be able to move into holes in the hillside, literally. KITV4's Paul Drews checks out Waikele Storage Park.
Burrowed into the hillside of Waikele Gulch, you'll find some pretty cool storage units.
The temperature stays somewhere around probably 70 pretty much all day long, even on the hottest day.
These bunkers were originally built by the Navy before World War II to store ammunition. Now they're being used to hold all kinds of things.
We have like suppliers, we have contractors, we have a golf course vendor. One man who has it full of lava rocks. He's a mason, and he doesn't want his rocks to get stolen.
Considering the only way into these 4,000 square foot bunkers is through these huge steel doors, you can see why things inside should be safe. 120 of these bunkers will be up for sale. Each comes with concrete floors, boulder-lined walls, and according to the developer, rock-bottom prices.
I think a lot of companies, a lot of contractors, a lot of suppliers need warehouse space. And they can rent it at Kalihi at, $1 a square foot, 80 cents a square foot or whatever. Out here they can buy it, and their monthly payment's like 35 cents a square foot.
Each of the bunkers on a 5,000 square foot lot will sell for $300,000 fee simple. The bunkers at Waikele have been around for a long time, and some of the units have been vacant. But Savio feels the window of opportunity will soon close on affordable storage space on Oahu.
There is a shortage of industrial properties right now. We've lost a lot of industrial land in Kaka'ako. Mass transit is coming. They're going to have stations all along the route that are in industrial areas. So Hawaii is going to actually have a shortage of industrial land.
These bunkers all come with plenty of storage and even parking around each unit. But they also come with one important stipulation.
They're currently only zoned as warehouses and not for other industrial uses. Those that buy in will also buy into part of this industrial park condominium.
Most people think of a condo as a residential, but a condo is really a form of ownership where individuals can own part of a bigger property.
That means several $100s more a month in maintenance fees to maintain the roads, lots, and security for this new storage park. In Waikele, Paul Drews, KITV4 News.
So that's not suspicious at all, and especially the fact that they were selling these things. I mean, can we get documentation of who bought these specifically? And again, I know we could all be like, well, let's look at Oprah's house, and they're not dumb enough to do anything like that. And why would they? They have the military working for them, protecting them. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem. That's why they're doing this in the open and getting away with it, because they're fully protected by Manchurian candidates, super soldiers, etc. The military. A lot of the people in the military don't even know what they're doing or what they're protecting, okay? But they're not going to likely be underneath a lot of these people's homes. They're going to be on military bases. So here's Field Station Kenai on the island of Oahu. This is video footage from about 12 years ago of the military base underground there. You could see this, even though it looks like it was filmed a lot earlier than that, probably even 15 to 20 years ago. The footage kind of looks like the 80s, but here's just another random underground base that nobody talks about in Oahu. So these are obviously the types of places that they would move children to. Now, I've talked about earlier about McMartin. I've talked about this stuff with the CIA for years and years and years. Underneath us is an underground world. And it's not a conspiracy. They try to make it like it's a conspiracy. There's Emerald City, there's the Ozarks. The entire country has an underground highway system underneath it. You tell me what you think that underground highway system is for. They'll come out and just ignore it, or they'll say it's military and it's top secret information. Well, does anybody see us at war with anybody? And even if we were, which we're not, they're at war with us, that's about it. What would we need it underneath the United States for? It's an underground highway. That's where they traffic young people. I don't want to say the word because the algorithm, but just to say it now, children. And that's where they traffic drugs and peddle it into this country. They pretend like it comes in over the border. The CIA, going back to the Bushes, to George Bush Sr., have obviously been the ones responsible for all the drug trade in America. It's not just about making money. It's about destroying the country, destroying the morals, destroying people's lives, okay? We're at a point now, obviously, where we know that they don't care about money. That's clear. Otherwise, Bill Gates would be on an island somewhere, yucking it up every single day, floating in a pool of money. They don't care about money. They care about the ultimate demise and destruction of the earth. Specifically here in America, they want to bring it down to its knees. So underneath all of us, there is highway systems. This is all stuff that's been documented. The question is, why do people think, and what do people think these are used for? This is where missing people go. This is why you can't find them. It's not because they're out in the woods, buried somewhere, and nobody ever stumbled upon them. Yeah, sure, there's stories like that, but the majority of missing youth, this is what happens to them. From other countries, they're smuggled in, they're brought here. America, this infrastructure in this country is complete. All the money that we've put into thinking it goes to highways and railroads and our tax money has gone to this infrastructure underground. And America is the hub for it. They come in from all different places. I talk about Sounds of Freedom and how they're trying to make it seem like, oh, it's Colombia and it's all these third world countries. It's here, okay? It's underneath our feet as we speak. So they have this set up, and specifically in the Hawaiian Islands, that's why the military complex is there. They try to tell you stuff. They're like, oh, well, they'll be the first ones to intercept anything that happens with China or somewhere else. Oh, like they intercepted those balloons that were flying over the Hawaiian Islands, that nothing happened to those, and they were given strict orders to allow it so they could topograph all the land there before they did what they just did, right? They're like, it's a first line of defense. That's why we have such military bases out in the Hawaiian Islands. Yeah, no, that's not why at all. And the Hawaiian Islands obviously have an appeal to these rich celebrities, these rich, tech owners, et cetera, right? The owner of PayPal's out there, from him to Jim Carrey to Mark Zuckerberg. So Zuckerberg obviously is somebody who's not getting a deep enough look when it goes to everything that's going on there, because everybody's strictly focusing on Oprah, which of course Oprah's involved in this. I just told everybody about, over on the website, I uploaded a video that I'd done in the past about Oprah and what happened to her school, specifically her school for the youth out there, of course, and how there was so many allegations about things that happened and so many people went missing. But you never hear that about Oprah, and of course that video can't be uploaded here, only on the website uprisingrevival.com, because it'll get removed. Okay, so we know Oprah's, they're all involved. They're billionaires. They're portraying themselves in public as wonderful, caring people when you know that they're not. So attention needs to be drawn to Oahu. Attention needs to be drawn there, in my opinion, of course. In my opinion. I don't know anything more than what everybody else out there is seeing and sharing, but to keep attention just on Maui doesn't make sense with the amount of Navy fleets that they have out there. They could easily and quickly have moved everybody overnight, in the middle of the night. Oh, we're going to take you to safety. Get on this ship. We're going to get you out of here because of the chemicals on the island or whatever. Oh, for the fire. We're going to get you housed over here. And then they just take them. And then you see videos like the one I showed you that are on the news. They're like, oh, yeah, we just have these storage facilities in the middle of the mountainsides. Oh, okay. Well, what do you need those for? Why don't you just, they used to be bases and blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. And who are you selling them to? Who can afford to buy these? Is somebody buying it like for $90 a month? Or is somebody buying it for $500,000 to store something in? They're pretty much prison cells in the wall. And they pretend like, somebody's going to buy it for a couple $100,000 so that they can store, some of their old supplies and their furniture that they don't need anymore, but they might want again in the future. Just like a U-Haul place. Huh? Yeah, that's not happening. Okay? And there's a reason that those are specifically in the mountain. And maybe at one time they served as a military base, or military storage facilities, but they don't anymore. They don't anymore. But again, if we all start understanding where these tunnels are, where these underground bunkers are, if you start understanding the military's involvement in this, not only do you wake up, but then you could start having a blueprint of when stuff goes down, how people could rally together. Because again, these people present themselves like they're out in the open. They're not out in the open. You think Bill Gates is going to Ralph's tonight to pick up a chicken and a turkey? You think he's going there to get a ham? He's got a dinner plans with his boyfriend or whoever? No. They pretend to be out in the open, out in public. The only time they pop their heads up is when they could do some type of photo op, and every single person there is obviously somebody who is a part of it, so they don't feel like, when they're on the White House lawn, okay, they're on the White House lawn. Well, of course they're safe there. Of course they are. The rest of the time, they're standing in front of green screens. Bill Gates is doing green screen interviews. Fauci, green screen interviews. Okay? They're all hiding from us because they know what they're about to do. And they're trying to destroy everything on the surface level here. That's why they're bringing the carbon dioxide underground. And they're farming and doing those things underground, which I'll cover in a separate video. So the 2,000 kids missing, obviously it breaks everybody's heart who has a soul. It's just absolutely disgusting. It's very hard to fathom. A lot of people are very upset about it, and they should be. But this isn't the first time this happened for those of us who are awake. And people need to be aware of where they do this stuff. They do it underneath our feet. And they don't need to stay in Maui to do it because it's all around them in the islands out there. There's a large amount, as you saw, a large amount of military bunkers, a large amount of military presence. And that's where this goes. People are just like, oh, it's underneath Oprah Winfrey's home. Well, that could very well be true. I'm sure there is somebody down in Oprah Winfrey's basement. But 2,000 people, 2,000 youth, I doubt it. Because it's too obvious of a place to look. Nobody's going to look at the military. Oh, the military. Well, they're here to protect us. Are they? When they get brainwashed enough and they get put through enough trauma-based techniques that they use in the military, when they come in and they recruit them, those people are soldiers for the government. They're super soldiers. They are people that, a lot of them, I'm not saying everybody. I know people out there will message me and they're like, my kid's in the military and they're a great person. Okay. I'm not saying every single individual, but people who are in certain, who are put in certain places, they're put there for a reason. And their oath and their job isn't to protect me and you from the boogeyman. It's to protect them from us. I thank everybody being here. Prayers for everybody still in Maui. I know there's a lot of distractions out there going on in the media, and they're not covering this as far as, it's just unbelievable with the stuff that they constantly get away with, and they show us, and they're like, oh, there's only 100 people reported dead out there. And it's like, well, people are claiming there's thousands of people. There's, black tarp up surrounding Lahaina. Right? There's FEMA there. I mean, where are all these kids that aren't showing up at school? Well, they're unaccounted for, but we'll find them. Oh, but you stopped the search. Oh, yeah, look over there. It's Hunter Biden's laptop. Go talk about that more. And then everybody just forgets about it, just like McMartin, just like all these other places. It's absolutely tragic. Prayers for everybody involved. Prayers for the children, for their safety if they are still alive. And I thank everybody for being here, as always. God bless all of you and your families.